Ladies and gentlemen, we all love a rematch, don't we? Earlier today here at the FACEIT CIS Minor, forZe, to some extent, unexpectedly bested Avangar on Inferno. However, round 2, which is about to happen, is going to proceed over a best of 3 format, and Avangar potentially revitalized with their win over Monolith, a rather scrappy win, will definitely be looking for revenge. My name is Parla, it's coming home, and I'm also joined by Vendetta and Maniac, two legends of the CS scene. Great to have you here. James now subbed out, he'll be casting. A big shout out to Vince and Harry for helping us along the way.
Yeah, no, excited to see how this pans out. Going into this, obviously, CIS region was a bit of a question mark for me. A lot of new faces, a lot of new teams. Again, some stand-ins here and there as well, as we saw on day one as well. In fact, like the one, I guess, safety card that I had, or the two safety cards, which would have been Spirit and Avangar, one of them has kind of already hit a bit of a snag in the road in Avangar.
Yeah, I think Avangar so far, like I said before, didn't really reassure us, and I think this game is very important for them, not only to qualify but also to establish their status in the CIS scene.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that kind of I think I might have PTSD from yesterday with Energy, where I saw signs of weakness just snowballing out of control, and I'm a little bit worried for Avangar in terms of that, because they're one of the CIS teams that actually been able to maintain a pretty decent form. If you think about how they've done from the previous major, where obviously they opened a lot of eyes, and they've actually been able to be a relevant part of the scene up till this point as well. So I would be very disappointed if they couldn't bring this further.
Definitely. Well, forZe will be the team we talk about first. Earlier today, we did see them surprisingly take out Avangar. It was on Inferno, and there were some interesting nuances to that matchup. The first thing that I noticed, that Avangar got ecoed, but they still managed to get 5 gun rounds. forZe, what mistakes did they make, but also what was right about what they were doing?
Well, I think what was interesting for them is that they were not afraid to take the fight and take control, and I think it's extremely important, mostly on Inferno. I think Inferno is one of these maps as CT that nowadays you can't just accept to play like in a 3-2 standard setup and just decide that you're gonna accept the execute and play the trade game. I think that doesn't work anymore. You're gonna have to go for information, you have to go for banana control sometimes, banana retake, and I think this kind of aggression is extremely important, and I think they need that going into this best of 3.
A player that really stepped up to the occasion on that first map, Halvor, was FaceCrack. Are you familiar with him at all?
Yeah, again, FaceCrack is that's one of the few names that actually rings a bell in terms of having played in old teams with Kibakin and those guys. So there's a storied past for some of these players. The same thing goes for Jerry and to a certain extent Almazra as well. So it's good to see that the guys who've actually been there before actually are stepping up to the occasion. They're not necessarily letting it all rest on the young guns' shoulders, and I think that's going to be vital for them if they're going to go up against a team that's without a question more experienced than them. Like, even though Avangar is a pretty fresh leaf on the scene, they've obviously had the opportunities to go to quite a few events. They've gone through the minor grind, as it is, one time in the past as well. So I think, yeah, it's going to be on players like FaceCrack to really just lead the show and do it by committee. But he has to be the one kind of standing up as a true captain in that sense. Going
back to what I mentioned in the previous segment, I did have a chance to speak briefly, maybe for a couple minutes, with the forZe guys upstairs. I think it was might have been Jerry. Yeah, definitely Jerry, actually, and asking him a bit about the team, how they like to play, and what they thought of their performances so far. And they felt that Avangar had underestimated them in that first best of 1, and that they were more prepared than Avangar were for them. We'll have to see if that pans out in a best of 3 as well, and we can now flip the script and talk about Avangar. Now, as we've established, they got ecoed, they got 5 gun rounds on the T side, but then their CT side had absolutely nothing, Matthew.
Yeah, and the problem is that that happened against Monolith, also on Inferno. And I really hope, for the sake of Avangar, that they realize in both games they had the same kind of problems. We mentioned before, I think they were way too passive, in my opinion, way more too leaning into gambles with no information, kind of playing in the dark. And as I said, I don't think it's viable anymore. You can't just accept that the teams are going to execute, for example, on you on B, and you're going to be 2 people only there, and you hope the trades are going for you, and this is going to be all right. I don't think this is how you can play Inferno. And now Avangar have had 2 occasions, 2 different times to do these kinds of mistakes and kind of pay the price, because we kind of established they should have lost Inferno against Monolith, or at least they could have lost it. So third time's a charm, isn't that what you said in English? I mean, this time they really...
No, we say it's coming home. Jame in the best of 3 started to have a better performance, but on Inferno, a map where an AWP is definitely very useful in certain situations, he had very little impact. Halvor and Matthew, can you tell me about what an AWP in an optimal situation generally should be doing on Inferno? What are the different ways you can play?
I think you have 2 very different types of, I guess, AWP players on a map like Inferno. I think regardless of what kind of player you are, if you're a mobile AWPer or if you're kind of more of an angle grinder, you can have a tough time on the T side. That's just very limited in terms of what you can find in terms of openings. You have to be a pretty unique individual to be able to find openings to actually create space for your team. Someone like a Guardian Kenny, that kind of a level.
Kenny before the nerf to the AWP on Inferno.
Well, you would remember that, right?
He was insane.
I think Veneta is making a very good point. It is hard for AWPs to make the difference on T now on Inferno. That's become very hard. And Kenny was one of the ones that were able to do that, like with the pop flash or the teammate jumping in front of him, he would take like the angle on A, short or long. But that's not really in the meta right now. I think it's really hard, and it's a tough time to be an AWPer.
I can see hearts around Matthew's head as he's talking about Kenny, and being on a team with him is a good time, right?
The good times.
But yeah, no, but that's kind of the T side of things. When you swap over to the CT side, that's where you see a bit more wiggle room in terms of what you can actually do for your team. You see how Flamey plays with the AWP, for instance, for Na'Vi. He's a very static AWPer for the better time of it. He's going to be an angle grinder that just holds very set positions over towards that A bomb site. Doesn't really move around a whole lot. That could work, but it's not going to necessarily fluctuate how a T side plays against you and all that. Because again, if you're given the map control you need, you can still set off your execute. It's just down to Flamey being a really good player to make it work. The other type of playstyle is the fluid and mobile AWPer, who just makes it really tough for any sort of T side to know where they're going to have to expend their early utility in terms of getting map control. Because if you have an AWPer who's getting flashed down into Banana, for instance, it takes the initial peak just to either stem an immediate B rush or just basically put a bit of a wrench into your banana control that you're trying to set up as a T side. That can be enough to make your or life really hard as a T side. Obviously, you can also have something that we saw Cadian do a lot for Rogue yesterday, which is do the mid pushes as an AWPer as well over towards that A bomb side. So maybe about like 10 seconds into the round, you start sneaking down in to get the peak in towards second mid.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's those kind of aggressive moves that can be really tough for an opponent to read with. So if you're a flexible player, I think that's probably the best kind of AWPer to have on your side.
And now we spent some time talking about Inferno. Is it likely that this is going to show up again in this best of 3? Might we see Avangar try to get cash in there as well? Let's start talking about these maps and which ones are likely to show up.
I mean, you guys definitely saw some errors and some continuous mistakes being made by Avangar and Inferno, and to me, that's a bit of a worrying sign. Obviously, the issue with it is that Inferno is such a commonplace map for every single team, so the likelihood of force, wanting to ban that out necessarily, that's not going to be the case. They won a pretty comfortable map the first time around. They went up against Avangar, so there's no real reason for them to remove it. And if you're Avangar, sure, it's a comfortable map in that sense, but you've been messing up in the same kind of fashion over and over again. That's something you have to take into consideration. So I could actually see Avangar eventually removing Inferno, even if it's towards the later stages of the veto.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem is, I've looked a little bit up Avangar and the maps they play, and they don't really have the wiggle room for that.
Yeah, forZe have banned cash outright.
Yeah, so those veto actually make sense if you know like the maps the teams are playing in general. So Nuke is the permaban sort of for Avangar, which again would allow forZe to go for Inferno if so they decide to.
Yeah.
And also the cash ban for forZe is very traditional for them, and I think it plays well for them in this matchup because we know cash to be a pick for Avangar, so that bodes pretty well for them. Avangar going for a Mirage pick.
Okay.
That is interesting.
They don't want to run Inferno back again, which would be the 3rd time they've played it today.
That wouldn't be their pick,
up, right?
I don't think that would be Avangar's pick. Inferno, that would be very
ballsy.
Would you say ballsy? I didn't know if I was very family friendly to say.
I was looking back at the logic that sometimes when you've had a scrappy performance or when you've lost, like you said, Matthew, sometimes it's good to run it back, and also maybe that they've just underperformed. But I completely agree with you guys' logic as well.
No, but the thing is, I think you have a point, Paula. But the thing, if you're Avangar now, is that you can feel it coming. As forZe are going to pick Inferno. So
Fair
why
enough,
would
and
you?
you are absolutely right as well.
Why
Matthew.
would you waste your pick on Inferno when you know, or maybe you realize you could have played better? That could be a map that you want to play in the best of 3, but you can just let them pick it. For you, you go for a more comfortable pick on your own, and they're going to pick Inferno, which actually they do. So. If Avangar thinks they can play better than what they did, that's an okay situation so far in the veto.
It kind of opens up the rest of the veto for them in terms of what they want to, I guess, think about banning out going further. And their ban is going to be Overpass. Again, a map that they don't necessarily play all that much. Again, I think map pool-wise, I've actually been surprised by the fact that Avangar have been able to kind of stick around and do as well as they have without necessarily having become specialist at one of the, I guess, non-traditional maps, and that's something like that's not Cache, Mirage, or Inferno.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So again, it's not too surprising, but for a third map, I've noticed that Dust2 was still in, so I was a little bit worried for that. It doesn't matter what team we see here, really. I'm just worried when we see Dust2 creeping in towards the later stages of the veto, because it doesn't really seem like any team has gotten a fully good grasp of it because it's such a fresh map, and it does take time to actually get a good grip of what's going on.
Yeah, at least here from what we can see, because there are some teams now, maybe in Tier 1, Tier 2 of CS, where they are starting to try to specialize on it. You see Astralis sometimes pick it. I think Mouse Sports don't mind playing it.
North does it as well.
Exactly.
G2.
Yeah, G2 as well. Yeah, that's a French map, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. And so, on the other hand, here, it would be more random. It's not necessarily something that we'd expect these guys to be specialists on at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would have been a bit of a different scenario if you have, like, let's say, one of these teams playing against, like, a G2 or, like, one of the very top teams in the world, because then you have to kind of throw in, like, a couple of jokers in there. That has to be like your wild card in that sense, where you're not necessarily that great on it on yourself, but you kind of think to yourself like, well, maybe they aren't either. And Dust2 has always been the kind of upset map in CS:GO history. So I think that would have made more sense in those kind of matchups than where you're more evenly matched, like we're seeing here.
No, I agree with you, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit of a shame because in the history of Counter-Strike, whenever a new map was like imported into the map pool, I always felt like, at least as a player, having this map as a home or potential home map for you would give you such a big advantage in the veto. Yeah. Being able to say, we are not going to veto Dust2, we might even pick it against you if you leave it open. That forces the entire, changes the entire format of the veto. The opponent is just forced to veto Dust2, even though they probably have other maps they don't play good on. So it's surprising to me that not many other sub-tier teams kind of jumped on Dust2 on the Dust2 train and just got really good at it, because it gives you such an advantage in the veto.
Yeah. You guys were absolutely spot on with regards to the veto, by the way, because just doing a bit more research, if we look at who Avangar have played on Mirage, it's mixed with who they've won against, who they've lost against, but at Star Series, they've played Na'Vi, Liquid, Godsent, and Gambit on the map. So they have a lot of experience against extremely good teams.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to be beneficial for them. And again, if you feel already that force is like, yeah, sure, you might be okay with playing Inferno in anyway, but yeah, leading into the fact that you've had 2 shaky Inferno performances, force likes playing it, allow them to do that for you. You can in that sense win the veto in a small manner by getting in 3 potentially very comfortable maps, and Mirage is definitely one of them for them. So I think that's just heads up by Avangar, not necessarily feeling like they need to bring it to force by picking in front of themselves.
And theorizing if this goes to a third map onto Train, Avangar with the edge there, I would say, being on paper and in terms of recent form, just better.
Yeah, I mean I think that's completely fair. I mean, not only just I think Avangar, again, just a comfortable team on Train as well. It's more to the fact that I just think the individuals on their side in terms of like Kickert and Buster and so on. And even James, if he can get going, he's going to be like a massive impact player on a map like Train. I think that's just going to be too much for forZe to actually deal with. So I think they can feel very comfortable even if it were to go to a third map. But I'm not even sure if it's going to do that.
Tough to say. Yeah, you want to say?
Oh. No, just heard some nice little team shouts and motivation. Yeah, I'm going to press you for some predictions, Matthew and Halvor.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go and say this is going to 3 maps. But
Oh, okay.
Avangar is going to make it because experience, because of all these values. Me as a veteran, I appreciate. So, experience, please. No, I think Avangar is going to take it in 3 maps.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be a little bit more of a believer. Again, I didn't get to catch all their mistakes live, so that's not.
You don't know yet. You
Exactly,
don't know yet.
exactly. I haven't felt the pain, so I'm actually thinking this is going to be a 2-0 for Avangar. They've possessed the quality in the past. I think they still possess it to the point where they should be able to right the wrongs on Inferno and close this out in 2.
Thank you very much, guys. I will also side with Avangar. I think the experience, just overall, that they are going to be the stronger team over 3 maps. Now, let's have a chat with our casters. It's James and Dan.
Oh, look, I'm back.
Good
Just
to
when
see
you thought
you.
it was safe to escape Bardolph, Bardolph just comes back.
We're never trying to escape the Bardolph. We're only ever trying to be around the Bardolph more, Bardolph.
I respect that. How
And
you doing,
Dan, would you like to speak, or has Bardolph got you under some sort of restraining order?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is really cool for me because forZe actually is one of the most old school orgs ever. And so when I was playing games in 2000, they were there. And so it's just cool to see some of these older orgs coming back into the fray and doing a lot of damage. So I'm really excited to see what they have to bring against the Vanguard.
Dan's actually going for name value.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a nostalgia move if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, well, Dan, I am feeling quite the same as yourself. James and Dan, have some fun. I think it's going to be a great match.
Cheers, boss. The Vanguard appear to be starting on the T side. Keykurt's the man with the grenades. He's got a decoy as well.
I'm trying to think
Oh, Christ.
if I can. I'm trying to think what is the equivalent, the Russian equivalent when it comes to old school orgs in Counter-Strike, and because forZe was a really big deal back in the day, and maybe a complexity or something of the complexity of Russia or something like that, and it'd be interesting to see if they can somehow grow this team and bring them onto the world stage. And it's been a while since I've seen some of these names like FaceCrack. I remember him. How can you forget that name, FaceCrack? And it's a beautiful name. Perhaps
Or you.
best.
I will crack your face.
Best in the business.
In the Counter-Strike
They
scene.
are.
All right, talking about FaceCrack, we have 2 headshots, one for either side. Power trying to get something done, but he can't. And he's one to look out for in the buy round. He was quite explosive for forZe on the previous Mirage we saw today, especially on a CT side. Not shy to run anywhere with the AWP, really. Avangar post-plant now in a 4 versus 3. We've got 2 CTs coming in from the connector position, but can they get these kills? That's what it comes down to. There isn't a kit on the players who are alive at the moment. Jerry has a smoke grenade, but if we're talking 10-second defuse, then this round may already be lost because they're just not getting the frags, and Vanguard not engaging just yet, but he decided to charge the site, and now we've got the smoke defuse coming in, and this might not work out for Avangar after all. He's still holding it. The knife attempt coming in, but he can't find the right angle. Jerry getting tagged, but 10-second 3v3 defuse. That is unreal. Avangar deciding to charge the site. And that went down the pan.
The crazy thing is he still had time. He had a good 2.5 seconds and a good few bullets left. That was pretty close. Well, forZe off to a good start. I had everyone else calling them forZe. I've always called them forZe for 18 years, so just it's going to be difficult to break that habit. Let's see what Avangar are up to. They got the AK.
I think people are saying forZe because of the forZe game on the PlayStation, which actually
really?
has an A on the end.
I always,
and is Italian, I believe. So
yeah. Well, I always said forZe just because I thought that was sort of the point of their name in a way, but I don't know. I never confirmed that with any Russians. So perhaps if there's any Russians listening, or anyone who knows the absolute correct pronunciation.
Well, I mean, they are here. We could just go and ask them.
Well, I mean, but right now I'm casting, so it'd be easier to.
We could ask you. You could go and ask them. I could solo cast.
Or go and ask them.
Yeah.
Whilst they're playing the game.
That probably breaks the rule, doesn't it?
It's probably not cool. Yeah.
Right, fine.
Oi, mate.
All right, let's let the. Well, I mean, it's England Day, right? If we're going to be yobos, this is the day.
Just stand behind one, wait for someone to die, and just immediately grab him.
Oh, mate.
But what if he
What's
doesn't have good English? Then that'd be a bit of an affair, wouldn't it? Anyway, simpler solution, just if you can speak English.
So we have both these teams on the bye at the moment. Jerry's been picked off, but I'm looking forward to seeing forZe with the AWP again. We saw Power make plays up mid, make plays in the underpass with the AWP as a point man, which is very interesting. But I guess trying to taken advantage back by Gamble walking through the smoke, trying to catch a T off guard. forZe are basically pushing everywhere. And I can understand wanting to get something. I mean, they have to try and force some action and try and catch somebody off guard because they are at such a disadvantage. Even now, in a 3 versus 4 kicker on the Desert Eagle, the CTs are quite spread out, so they will continue to be aggressive and find more frags or be on the receiving end of.
Ooh, they will be moving towards face crack, however. And position's actually not too bad. Unfortunately, face crack unable to withstand the might of Crizzen. So it looks like it will always be a bit of a save for Malik. Just a little bit of a save, as opposed to a save, which is what he's actually doing.
A little bit
Just gonna add
of a save.
See a little bit of flair. See, I did it again. Because you need to have a sentence. You know, you need to have a bunch of words put together, and sometimes you don't have anything to say, James. So you just fill the sentence with crap.
Little.
That's what you do.
I hate the little bits and the bit ofs.
Yeah.
They are crutches, commentator crutches.
Incepted me now. I'm gonna
A little bit of this,
little bit of
and a
that.
bit of that. Yeah, so commentators will get in the habit of developing crutch words every now and then when they can't think of something to say. Just fill the time with a little bit of this and a bit of that.
Like, what was it, like that Ricky Martin? Oh no, that's about. Oh, that's
It's not time to talk about your home album collection, Dan.
Yeah, Ricky Martin,
Right,
Barry White.
Monsieur Martin, living La Vida Loca and all that.
That was the one I was thinking of too. Yeah, because that was all about a little bit of this girl and that girl. Yeah. Anyway, 2-1 for forZe, and we'll see a full buy for both teams, which is a lot of fun. We're already going to drop into mid.
Yes, he failed to drop onto short, and he's decided to, I'm going to charge up mid. Everything's fine.
No, I'm not.
Evasive action taken, but again, it's a very early pick for Avangar, and they are quite capable of these plays, but the trade will be there. But minute 30 on the clock for CTs alive, not really what you need. And Crizzen's got very strong map control towards ladder room.
Yeah, we have the bomb just sitting by itself in the B apartments for the time being. Keycut just chilling like a villain. This is important. This is something that it can be very problematic for Tees, and you know the CTs, if they are so bold as to push Palace, and let's say Avangar did come back late round for an A play, it gets really sketchy, and obviously you do get the option to just go for a full flank and just make things very weird. Right now, because of this movement, he's effectively disconnected. Or actually, maybe not. If Avangar just go for the split onto A right now, this is really cool actually, the positioning from forZe. They are all towards B. This is very much an A retake type setup. This is very curious. Do you want to give it away so freely though? Look how free this bomb site is right now with 4 CTs alive. That is quite a curious setup with no way to even have eyes on A, even very passively. It's almost like they decided to save, kind of. Like, you know, they did that gamble save. Oh, we lost a guy, so probably losing the round, let's just stack a site. You know, that's kind of like what it looked like. Very strange.
Curious to see what forZe can do in the next rounds. Exit power, definitely one to watch for depending on the kind of spawns he has. Avangar have, I think it's fair to say they have underperformed so far today. And we are still waiting to see a strong map from them on both halves. Alright then, let's see what the CTs choose to do. Exit power has pretty much a perfect spawn. So the previous round, he tried to jump into the short position. He failed and decided, screw it, I'm going to run up mid. This is what I do anyway. But we've seen him make plays towards the underpass with the AWP, which you don't normally see, and he was quite successful. But this time he goes towards the B bomb site, and you do need a very good spawn for this indeed, because you can get caught by a T player jumping on those boxes. You'll often see the likes of like an Aliwar or JDM trying to take those picks with an AWP, but Riflers will do it as well. Very quickly indeed, Avangar have 4 players in the middle position. It is completely uncontested. The smoke is in the window. If they were to boost somebody up, there's no one to really even see that or currently watch CT. XE Power has been left on the B bomb site with the AWP. Avangar have BAP's control. They've got a player in the ladder room, I think. So he better be on point if they come his way. It is his job to send Avangar towards the A bomb site, but Avangar might end up doing that themselves. However, if FACEIT has an engagement towards BAPS, if he loses that, that might cause a rotation from forZe. If he wins it, it still might cause a rotation.
40 seconds. And this stack might just pay off after all, because Avangar are indeed missing some of the info. They haven't done a huge amount of pressure onto the A site just yet. Going to try to walk it in, which is actually a good result at this point. And there goes, oh, Malik. Oh, face crack. He is doing quite a good job so far. 2 quick kills, and there's 18 seconds to plant the bomb. 2 CTs still remain on the bomb site, now just 1. Almaza has to, well, I was going to say bide his time, but he will be discovered and fragged by Buster. So 3 rounds now for Avangar, 2 for forZe, and they're ready for a buy again after the previous round save. And so far we've seen a lot of stacking from forZe on their CT side. It'll be interesting to see how it develops over time. If they will go for more aggression. We like aggression.
Well then, Avangar in the lead. 3 from 3. We hear some shouts about the England football team in the next room. I don't know what's going on there. Alright, we've got 2 players towards A again. Ooh, this time it's FACEIT again. Not even with the AWP, but he's getting cheeky. Now, someone's going to have to rotate and pick up this bomb if Avangar are to split the A site, unless they're going to decide to try to go and win by elimination. FACEIT good for 2, and there's a full rotation towards the A site. forZe not afraid to commit to one of these bomb sites.
Good cover coming in from Dima and James looking over from the Palace position. And we will see some very good damage done back by Malik. And that will give them an opportunity with that bomb left in T-spawn. It is going to make life fairly difficult to get back into the A site. However, at least they have given themselves some time to work the map. Although Dima is still hanging around. Tetris, what on earth? Face crack completely caught out in the open. Not even sure what he was looking at, especially as Malik was standing right next to him. They both were looking into window for some reason, which is very bizarre. Okay, well, that's the big problem because they had a pretty good spot, but now you can see Malik is unsure as to what Avangar are even doing. Perhaps they really suspected the rotation to be.
They molotoved him on jungle, so maybe he thought they knew he was there. So maybe one guy is running distraction, I suppose, which is why he goes towards the B bomb site. But now he knows it is A. He does not have a kit. Perhaps there's one on the floor. I don't know if that jumping can be heard, but now Avangar know what's up. And they will reposition accordingly. James not shy to have a look. Grenade's going his way, and I think Malik's had enough of this.
What's going on?
I think they're recording something. I can hear people shouting it's coming home, but the game is not for 4 hours. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear that at home.
Yeah.
But if you can, hello.
Some rowdy people in the background.
Dima's having a good game so far. This has been rough for forZe. This CT side has had many gambles, and pretty much none of them have paid off.
Yeah. No, it's been a really weird CT side, honestly. It feels as though they aren't hands-on enough in a lot of different respects. And obviously that situation there just looks really weird because they're both static, just looking in completely the wrong direction. And if you're in that spot as the CTs, it's where you know, okay, it's a 2v2. You know that they have to plant the bomb. You know, normally you take positions where you've got pretty solid off angles that will prevent that from happening. You get the information. You allow them to plant so that you know where one of the players is. It gives you more information to know how to attack the retake, and it's just more of a sure thing, generally speaking. So that was quite bizarre, but moving forwards, we'll have to see if they can do better. We've got a bunch of pistols here, so it might not be this round. FACEIT going up middle to see what he can do with the Deagle. And can't quite catch Chrisen, and he does get him in the end, but Dima will jump on him and crush him. Getting his Mario game on.
Smoke actually helps the CTs, but I suppose it is a deterrent in case there were further pushes into the middle position. Avangar now rotating towards the A site where Jerry lies in wait. Now, we've seen many gambles from forZe in different rounds, but as they are ill-equipped, committing to one site together would be a good idea at this point. FaceCrack taken out in the middle position. Hard to take duels there, but I guess you need to seek information to channel your energy in the right direction later on. Jerry taking out the first player, and he will hear 1 or 2 players on the ramp position. Now it's just down to Almeza, and now it's down to nobody else. AWP collected by Avangar, and I mean, these have been some nice rounds for them, but finally in round number 8 we see a full buy from forZe. They will have 2 AWPs. This time XCPower's got a kind of crappy spawn deep in CT, and Almeza, the second Doppler, is behind them going towards the A bomb site, so we'll see what they decide to do. XCPower focusing on the B bomb site. Seems forZe will be content to give up mid for the most part. FaceCrack creeping behind some smoke grenades, and XCPower gets a very fast pick onto Jame in the B apartments.
Kristen looking to push short. He knows there is a man in the corner. You can probably see the barrel or something there, but doesn't really have a clear shot, so can't really do too much about it just yet. Although if Buster can force him out of the position, maybe there's a chance, but no, look at the movement coming in from Almeza. He's able to just jump right out of there. Lovely follow-up onto Keycut. Is that what you've been calling him?
Mm-hmm.
Keycuts. Keycuts. Demasig looking for some damage, looking for something. But he's going to get a whole lot of nothing.
I can't believe that Almeza got that frag, that first frag in connector. He absolutely, the player on short definitely saw the barrel of his gun. It is an awkward position, but he gets away with that frag as well somehow is crazy.
They didn't take even a single lick of damage.
Yeah, Dima still has the bomb, however. Jerry's starting to push a ramp, and he may get an early warning for his team if he doesn't win the duel, but he will win the duel. 4 players surviving for forZe, and I don't think Jerry did not get to the AK in time, unfortunately for him, or the A button did not work. Ooh. But there was a guy on short. Where was the trade frag? That should have been, with him moving away from the position, that should have been all but guaranteed. I guess the but was the operative word there. XCPower in the mid position once again. Is he going for a jump? He is. Straight into the connector area, and the smoke will be neutralized. Did he see the foot jump over? Almeza will deliver the kill from short, but Crizzen is still here. Maybe focusing on short now. XCPower moving away from the connector position, and they may not expect an AWP to be in the connector since it was Almeza who was getting the kills from there last time. Opportunity knocked for Crizzen, but you can see maybe an AWP peak will be coming in from the toll booth eventually. 3 players in A for forZe who seem content giving up mid.
They have been content with giving up a lot in some of the rounds that we've seen so far. However, they do have the 5v4, so it's much more justifiable, and they're not just abandoning a bomb site, which is good, which we saw previously as well. So they do have decent positions here to deal with this. It would be cool to see the toll booth, like the AWP jump onto the toll booth, and so they can look into connector right now. Obviously, you're vulnerable to Palace when you do that, but it would have been nice earlier on. But obviously now you've got the potential threat coming up from pit, and we see Avangar beginning to spread out into jungle as well as onto the sites. Some good mollies coming in. Looks like Jerry's going to win his 1v1, although now Avangar committed. Will they push forwards? They've got 2 players to worry about in CT, and they've got less than 20 seconds. There's no time really for this.
They can't really cross to the bomb if the player in CTA doesn't face. Look where the bomb was. 2 players on short, and they didn't have the time, so they did get run down. I don't know what it was that triggered a rotation from forZe, if it was a step or a grenade or something. forZe had one sniper rifle on the B balcony looking through, and with some teams you'll see them rotate a 4th person closer to the A site, but they had a second player hugging the wall underneath the windows looking towards short because they didn't have any vision of mid, and then one of the 3 players who was on A ended up in CT spawn looking for the crawl space, which does somewhat compromise how they can react to a play into the A site, unless they're content on being retake. But then they had a player, I think, in default as well. So it's interesting to see how those will continue to play out. forZe definitely coming with their own style. They've broken the money of Avangar, as you will soon see. It is all over the place at the moment, and there'll be quite the investments, actually. James buying down to $500. Meanwhile, Buster's got $36.50 in the bank, so maybe buying one of the larger guns later on. Still a one-round lead here for Avangar. Now, with these smokes into Molotovs on A ramp, you have to be careful, because that bottom right corner will often expose you if T is looking for somebody to try and cross the smoke, for example.
FaceCrack waiting patiently around the connector smoke. And hello. That's a good, quick pick as James pushes. And that's going to be a lot of information. As now the push will come in from Avangar. Demasic will take down Jerry, but it's short-lived. 3 frags going towards forZe in the defense, leaving just Buster. Have you made any Buster Rhymes jokes yet, James?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
So on that round, you saw what I was talking about. Almeza was on the balcony in B. They put 4 people on the A site. Maybe because it was Eco as well. I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on that as things continue here with the double sniper rifles for forZe. James will be on the sniper rifle as well. I said that he was one to look out for when they played previously, and, well, the team didn't do very well, and he certainly didn't either. Currently 1-4-7 is James, so he really needs to step it up. Has not had a good start to the day. So there's a smoke on the balcony, which may compromise a second player leaving the B bomb site. Malik going towards the short position while Almeza waits for that smoke to go. But there are walls which T's could be hiding behind, so he may not feel as confident as he has on previous rounds.
So that's James getting a pick from pits to CT spawn, and that may change some of how Avangar would be looking at this round. That's a really big opener. Obviously knowing you get rid of one of the AWPers. And quick flash there from a teammate for Jerry. And he's going to know that one player is there. So they should be able to work out that Avangar were really thinking about that A presence.
Look at Almeza, though. He has angles towards the underpass position, and he's just picked off Kiko walking up back towards B with the bomb, and nobody else is there. So while all that was going on, Almeza just decided, I'm just going to walk through the apps, screw it. And now he's got the bomb. Malik is still there for support, but he's been taken out. So this could really go either way. 40 seconds, and suddenly it's a 2 versus 4. Almeza needs somebody to cover his back. Jerry's doing that, but Chris is looking to flank. I don't know if there's time, though, with 30 seconds. Almeza really has to make sure he has the right position.
This is such a cool setup, isn't it? There's actually no way, really, for them to break this unless an AWP shot is missed, and that's not happening so far. Well, there's one, but 15 seconds to go. Almeza's perhaps done more than enough, especially with the incendiary toss there. Dima has to run straight through it, making all the sound cues in the world. Surely there's no reality where he survives here. Has to go for the plant. Ooh, Jerry gets it. I was really afraid he would miss that shot, and then Dima would turn around and slap him in the face, but they made it work.
Yeah, with the Molotov down in the apartments, I thought he might check the closer areas to try and figure out where it came from. But credit to Almeza, not afraid to go through the B apartments after that smoke. It is somewhat risky, but maybe it's a habit of the players. But they may have to change that kind of aggression now, because Avangar may look to punish them for it when they come back in for the buy. For now, it will be the pistols and the 1 AK onto Dima for this round. Avangar will be at maximum loss bonus the round after this, which allowed them to buy so much. Jerry loving life on the A ramp, or he was, and now he's dead. James alone with no bomb. I wonder if Almeza may have heard him. Or perhaps not. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of rotation from the forZe players. Malik will go beyond the bomb, and Almeza will finish things off. 1 kill for Avangar in that round, and the forZe money is not out of control just yet, but there aren't that many rounds left.
It's been kind of hard to predict this one, especially with the start that Avangar had. It looks quite smooth. You can see the top, they have 5 rounds in a row, but now the same is said for forZe. So can forZe keep it up, get that 10-5? They've got the double AWPs, which have been working well for them. And James going to spot the spotter. Ooh. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh no. I thought that perhaps he could make it out there, but he's going to get stuck on the wall. The HE in combination with the Molotov, and he's dead. And just like that, Exit Power is just sitting out there in middle as well. Happy to receive key cuts, and now they're 3 versus 5. It's desperation mode. Dima needs to just walk in and get a kill or 2 or 3 would be nice. And he's not going to find too much luck there. So the round is pretty much over. It's hard to see a comeback from this position. You never want to count it out, but it would really take a lot of mistakes from forZe to allow them back into the round here. And you can see the double peek will deal Krisen, leaving Buster in a 1v5. That Molotov kill, though, that was really not a good start.
Not a good start. Not a spectacular finish. Expecting the trade fragger, but nothing doing. Great round for forZe. Are 5 rounds enough for Avangar? Really not having a great time of things on the T side here. Again, James, very important as a sniper. 2 for 10 at present. Dima doing the heavy lifting. 4 AKs to CZ. James will be the utility man for this round. And again, just a big focus on the A site from forZe. Amazah is a problem for Avangar to deal with, and this time it's Kiket's turn to be barbecued. Rotisserie chicken.
Oh my god. That is exactly how his teammate died in the previous round. Exactly, but just in a different area of the map. Oh wow, that's really awesome from forZe to reliably get kills, opening kills like that. There's an HE and a Molotov now for Avangar. That's it from a utility perspective. That is awful. Their split needs to be very good, but the bomb is just, it's been dropped very far away. It's not even worth calling its position, it's just very far away. That's the call, that's the call of where the bomb is. So even if they get some kills here, they have to go back for the bomb at some point. They will get some kills, and I think you can see that Jamie is going to go back for the bomb. And now it's down to the 2 AWPs, and he can take that bomb to B at this point. Oh, this is big. Almeza. Oh, missed his timing on Buster. And it looks like they will be okay in this round just by walking in and shooting them in the face.
This is a gamble. Although it makes sense. Well, at this point, Exi could be saving towards the B bomb site, which makes it kind of weird. But there we go. Buster will have to... Okay, he's going... That's interesting. He went back to short into the ladder room, but if Exi had peeked faster, who knows what might have happened. Exi, though, has conceded sound cues already. Surely he has. I think Buster has realized now. forZe have nothing to lose by going for this other than conceding a sniper rifle. But, I mean, James got 2 kills anyway, so... Well, 4 now. So the sniper rifle seems inconsequential to him. Exi has a defuse kit, and both these players have left a bomb. Oh, get on the bomb, Exi. Oh, Buster's had a look. He's seen him. He's on short. No smoke grenade. And that will be the round for Avangar. Round number 6. A much needed round for Avangar. A little momentum going their way after 6 rounds in a row from forZe. Oh dear.
That is so cool. I love that. I want to see that 3 times in a row. In a row.
Appropriately 3 times as well.
Rewind.
Okay, Craig David.
Yes. Well, forZe, it does not bode well if you get the opening kill in a round and your opponents have 0 utility and you still lose a round because they just walk in when you are on the defense. That's not very good. So hopefully they can step things up here. That is a tag on both of them. So, but you know, Almeza is going to have more confidence, having the better position, defending the apps, and he is actually very confident to push forwards a little bit there, which is brave. But in doing so, he will actually spot that they have evacuated that position. That's good information for forZe.
That's weird now because, look, Amazon knows they're not going towards B because he has the superior angle, at least not from the apartment, so he moves up short. Great game sense from him, and they get ruined. He knows one person's gone past the angle, I'm pretty sure, and that's Buster with the bomb stuck in the ladder room. There's another disaster for Avangar. Krisen's top mid, but he has no flashbangs. Buster's the one with all the grenades. He could throw a smoke to try to take Almeza out of this position. That's all he can do, really. A smoke in the apartments now from Malik, and Almeza is still looking towards the connector position. Buster's like, ooh, he could jump up and make his way. Oh, boy. That's a problem. Round number 9 for forZe. Pistol round could be huge.
The weird thing is that it feels to me as though, you know, seeing some of the rounds and the advantages that they had and some of the misplays, that they could have had a much more dominant scoreline. That last round, for example, I think it's kind of strange that they were, would lose that one, and there was, at least 1 or 2 other rounds where they'd had a lot of advantages and sort of just really misplayed it on rotations and so on. So they could have had a bigger scoreline there, and as was mentioned, Avangar not having the best time of it at the moment. I can definitely see that. Definitely a more experienced team, and with how forZe are playing so far, would expect a closer result, but we'll see if they can turn it around here on the second half. Good start for Avangar. 2 opening kills. Kristen will eventually be, Kiko gets traded, but it's looking very good for the Avangar boys as they are holding on to the A site mostly, although Kristen will get overwhelmed, but it's a 1v2. Malik quite tagged up, down to half health, and he's got a player watching at CT, and now they just have to, just force him to plant, and then life gets very difficult for Malik.
He's got a minute 20 though, so there's plenty of time to try and eliminate one of these players. He knows where Buster is, but where is the trade fragger? The Molotov down on jungle, surely trying to bait. No, he's going to commit. Very sneaky stuff from Malik. Might have been a surprise from the CTs as they know he doesn't know where James is. Hello, Buster. Malik looking for an ace, but it will be Buster to bust his face. Much needed pistol round from Avangar. And maybe the likes of James and Co will be settled on the CT side.
Some nice rhyming work there, James. Yeah, you rhyme with the best of them. You bought a lot of books, like rap writing books, right?
There's a book called How to Rap, which talks about the science of constructing raps and stuff.
Is that a physical book that you have?
I have both editions, Kindle edition and the physical book. Dan, I bought the book twice actually.
Really?
Kind of bikes. Anyway, forZe have pretty much everybody in the B apartments. If they had any grenades, they've already been deployed. There is a dirty smoke at the back, which is a problem.
Dirty AK as well.
Hello. Hello again.
This is very much a thing that we see more often in some of the Eastern European teams.
He's peeked 4 times after seeing the player, well 3 times after seeing him. And that HE won't do as much as it might have. And now forZe are all over the site, and they may just get a plant out of this. Indeed they will. Face crack dying for the cause.
Yeah, that was a really weird open to the rounds. There's still a chance for Avangar to retake this, but the AK strong, and the spray is going to be perfect. Kristen manages to make it into a 1v1. Ooh, the AK not able to get the headshot in time, and Kristen will steal that AK. And he'll get the defuse. Full 10 seconds though. I was a bit worried there for a second because the bomb is quite ticked that perhaps he should have defused first and then run for the AK, but it's okay. It's all good.
Am I going crazy? Like, did he not see the player standing there?
At the beginning?
Because he should have, because the player saw him every time, right? So they should see each other.
I'm pretty sure he did, didn't he?
There's no reason that he doesn't see him, but he saw him 4 times and didn't throw a HE.
Just like
that was just in his hand. So why aren't you throwing the grenade? He's at the back of the apartment.
It was a bit suspect, wasn't it?
Greedy, perhaps. 4 players lost for Avangar, and that may have a part to play in the rounds to come. Now forZe are on the buy, and it's a very fast execution into the mid position. Smokes around connector in the window as well. One would assume it's a CT smoke at the bottom of those stairs, but they're still taking big damage. Lots of map control for forZe. The CTs know they've got ladder room. They're all over mid. CTs will likely soon have to concede the connector position, and that's Buster taken out from short.
Extra power with position in the window. Christen's a little bit out there. I mean, he's obviously having to watch a bunch. I mean, that is the nature of playing stairs. You have to watch 3 things effectively, depending on what's going on. And goes to the peak, does get a kill onto FaceCrack, which is nice considering he was against 2, but still it's going to be tough here for James. Does not know where to look, goes straight to looking towards jungle, but of course stairs was occupied as well. And now things are starting to get out of hand here, but can Dima bring it back? Nope, he cannot, nor can Kikut. Kikut shot down as he tries to retreat. There is no retreat, there is no surrender.
forZe trade fragging around the window position, around the A position. Fortunate, I think Jury spotted the player on the ramp just as he got past the brick, so his body was mostly covered, and then they traded with the guy from the Palace. That was a very important outcome, although it still would have been an uphill struggle, especially with the time on the clock. But here we are, Avangar, due to that, all the damage done in that eco round are broken, and forZe are 2 rounds ahead. Avangar, the favourite team in this part of the bracket, has not worked out that way. forZe look to build a nice lead now in the first map of this best-of-3 series. They should, I won't say will, but they should wait out the smoke. Kikut with the 5-7. He's got 3 targets ahead of him, and he won't kill any of them. That's an open B bomb site, although the CTs are not too far away from the market.
Bosh! I was waiting for us, hoping for it. Buster busts a face. There's more to be found. Many more faces to be found. Dima looking to get the push going. Although he will be denied, and perhaps with that frag, there might not be enough space for his teammates to get in here, so they should really consider holding on to what they have, as it would be somewhat suicidal to challenge these choke points. Buster has a great spot, though, to get extra value from that 5 HP end of the Eagle, but can't find the timing to pull the trigger. Malik not a fan of the pots. Smashing that pot. Smashing it good. Been a while since we smashed some plant pots, James.
Did you smash your plant pot, though?
Yeah, I did.
Remember you dropped it and it just didn't, just stood on the floor.
Yeah, it was just like, you need the, you know, like the glasses that come over.
Yes.
Oh, what's that meme? Oh god, I'm just blanking here.
Anyway.
Yeah, the Fug Life meme, whatever.
Avangar on the pistols here. A taser has been purchased by Kikut. Taser's now available on FACEIT. We are not early adopters, I think it's fair to say.
It's a long time coming, considering the whole taser thing, isn't it? Really. So
yeah, had to be.
That should have coincided with the video, right? Launch of tasers.
Ooh, USP Godbuster. All right then, 12-8. Should shortly be the score in favour of forZe. The loss bonus is middling for Avangar. Last round it was 19, next round it will be 24, or at the conclusion of this round. Oh dear, it's not what he wanted. Now 2 AKs have been given up, and this is huge. This saves Avangar $6,000. Or $6,500, just about. Just about not. So these are huge pickups for a team that desperately needs money. You can see they're currently carrying $7,500 of equipment at the end of that round.
James' name is cool. Ali Jami. Jami? I'm sure that's probably not the pronunciation, but...
Diami?
Ali Jami. Ali Jami. Jami Ali. Let's have a look and see what Exapower can find in mid. Oh, it's going to be perhaps what Christen can find in mid. Oh, not much. That is a missed opportunity. Unfortunate for him. Dima Sick and Buster in position to help out on middle, but they may not want to challenge. And this is a fast round from forZe. They are moving into connector quite quickly. FaceCrack will smoke it off as well. That's a lot of pressure, a lot of presence. And this is a great response. Kikut boosted up by our teammates.
But look at Armeza. He had a lot of sound cues. He knows the second player should be there. Finds a very tight angle to spray, but he'll lose that one. Exapower was taking the bomb towards the B bomb site. Dima's made his way over there for Avangar, and only James is in a passive position towards A. FaceCrack has taken the opportunity to move into the jungle position, and Demon knows he cannot move there, but he won't give any sound cues away. Slowly moving towards the A site with Buster on short. James the one though with the AWP.
No idea where that was being planted in that smoke for James. FACEIT with a decent position, looking for that potential boost, which you do see every so often. And it's a good position to check from where he's at. And they do not have an incendiary to punish him for that position from where they are. So it's actually fairly strong at the moment, especially considering that they have to tunnel vision on him to try to take him out. And that avails them to FaceCrack and Jerry doing the damage and shutting down the chance here for Avangar in this round. forZe, they are poised to do great work in this first map here. They're on 13 rounds. And Avangar, they can't be very good for the money, and indeed they are not. They can't really buy properly here.
Yeah, but again, those 2 weapons that they saved makes the money, as bad as it is, it makes it a lot better than it otherwise would have been. So, ooh, they're going to force it up.
Forced against forZe.
That's interesting. They could have had a sniper rifle next round, but they have a 5-round deficit already. They need rounds. Not much space to concede, so they will take the gamble. 2 UMPs, 2 M4s. What kind of play could they possibly have in mind? Is it relative to spawn? Let's see. Buster has the most forward spawn possible with the M4. So that's interesting. I wonder, will he go? Okay, he's going towards the B-bomb site, so nothing crazy, nothing in the underpass. Number of players on A. 3, in fact, playing close quarters. Mid will be abandoned, and they don't really have a lot to fight mid with, so they have to give it up.
Fast take of connector though, although they aren't actually positioning into connector, perhaps boosting first, which would be very nice. That's a 4-pronged attack. That is 1 more prong than 3.
It's basically a fork.
It is similar to a fork,
Forky fork.
But they need to break the bomb site, and so far they're going to get the initial kills on the way in. James not with too much to say about it, and that looks like it's the round, honestly, at this point, because it's a 4v1. Kika trying to get in position, denied. And forZe right now are showing Avangar up massively. Well, so we'll be able to defend against Jerry, but right now he's just trying to survive, but he can't. He cannot survive.
They forked the A bomb site. And Avangar got forked as well.
Speaking of forks, Avangar's logo is pretty awesome. It's like an A, but like a trident at the same time. It's actually... there's a lot of really cool logos, I've got to say. I'm impressed by the logo game.
In the world?
In Counter-Strike right now. A lot of strong logos.
Kika making a charge up mid on his own. Running backwards all the way, and he gets shot in the arse by FACEIT. A lone play up to mid position. I don't know if he had support grenades from A. I would assume he did over the roof. No one to trade for him. I suppose if they trade and doesn't work, or try to trade and doesn't work out, they lose the whole round. So that was a gamble. James picks off Almeza. Does he rotate the AWP elsewhere, perhaps? You can see Buster is in the ladder room. Crizzen and Dima await on A. Crizzen looks to peek into the mid position, sees some information there, and gives Buster a warning, who's going to play the blind spots, give forZe a false sense of security. They see nothing there. He gets 1 frag. Will he expect a second play, though? He hears the legs now. James on the side. Oh, he gets some aim punch before he can get his shot in. Where's the communication? Did he even realize he's there? That's finally a nice flick from him. 2-on-2. The bomb being planted on the site, and the angle is being covered. T's in the smoke now, but if they try to escape, they may be in trouble.
Oh, wow. Jerry comes out and somehow does not see Dima sick. There's a big chance now because of that. Although James is weak and Dima's running around the side, there is a good chance here for Malik, but James takes a decent angle and finds the kill. That was really weird, actually, because I think it was Malik. He like flashed through. Oh no, it was Jerry, wasn't it? He flashed through and then jumped out the smoke. And I think it was Dima who just didn't see him because he was turned fully away. and still got the drop on him. So that is a much needed round for Avangar. We can see that it does put them closer to a position now where, should they win this round, forZe will not really have any money, and they'll have to go for somewhat of a save. And that means that Avangar suddenly, you know, around 11 rounds to 12 rounds, you know, they're going to have a good chance at that. So very impactful round, this one. Likewise, if they get broken here, that's probably it for them on Mirage. So very critical round, pivotal. And FACEIT is playing passively here with the rest of his team, waiting for that aggression. And he's not wrong to do so. Crizin out there in mid. Although Crizin has 0 support there. He has to keep doing 180s. That is not efficient, James.
Yeah,
not
this
in connector even.
Why would you choose to do this?
That doesn't really make a lot of sense. And he just kind of pushes up mid.
Yeah,
now
because he feels he has to eventually. Because the longer he's there, the more exposed he is to people moving into the underpass. So chooses to gamble, and second round in a row, they just run up top mid at one person and get frags.
It's kind of like everyone's playing alone there. It's very strange. Like, what are you trying to accomplish should always be a question you're trying to ask here. And, well, we'll get back into that later. We've got the B split coming in from forZe.
Buster smoked off the site, trying to hold short down. That's where the bomb is, now in the ladder room. A role reversal, perhaps. I think it was Buster in the first half who was stuck there, tagging the player in connector. And it's awkward for FACEIT to try and trade, but Almaze has made his way through the smoke, and that is a saving grace for forZe. Malik in the connector position. They know he's there, these CTs, and that will contain them. And maybe even stop them from trying to get to the site soon. And now what do they do? 2 versus 3, out of position. Both with kits. Do they decide to go for it? It looks like maybe James posting up, but I can't imagine they would commit. Surely it would be suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't do it. They can't throw these guns away. These guns are much more of a sure thing than that retake. So they will hold on to it. But forZe have put themselves in a great position, especially with 3 players surviving. That's good amounts. And unless someone dies here somehow after time. I mean, Keycode is waiting around there, so maybe if he pushes forwards, he can get an angle. But you don't want to you do not want to frag and give up the AK there. That would do literally nothing for you. It would not hurt your opponent's economy in any meaningful way, and it would only mean that you lose. You're basically risking losing the AK. That's all that's happening there. Is a big risk of losing the AK for nothing. So fortunate not to get fragged with that push. It's going to be 15-9 though for forZe, and they are very close to doing this.
Okay, so a player just legged it, so we can only assume it is for the purposes of the bathroom. When you've got to go,
alleviation.
You've got to go. You must relieve things. It's looking pretty good for forZe. They seem to have Avangar's number, although I don't think Avangar are in the best shape at the moment. And this is qualifying for a major. If you're not in the best shape now, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
When are you going to be in the best shape?
You're on LAN. Indeed, this is the whole point of this format as well, is to really vet people fully. And if you can't hack it, then that's it, isn't it? At this stage. So lots of work to be done. It's cool to see forZe having a good showing against them and punishing them for some of the mistakes that they've made. That round is very curious, and it seems almost, perhaps symptomatic of a greater problem where you have, I forget, who was it, Crizin? I think it was Crizin, who's just sort of in mid by himself, having to do, and it begs the question, what is the team trying to accomplish in that round? Because whenever you try to accomplish anything, you want to find the most effective way to do something, and so you don't want to do something which is just half bad, basically, or half good. You want it to be an effective tool to achieve something. So having Crizin sitting in mid with 0 cover, feeling like he has to push and has no way to escape, it just seems a bit strange. So Avangar buying around the saved weaponry. Can they bring themselves back into Mirage, or is this a done deal?
Aggression on A. Avangar now with 4 people in that direction. James in B-apps with the AWP. Not holding the pixel gap though. Slowly, forZe will make their way towards A again. They have one player ramp, one player palace. Waiting for some aggression, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a boost into the window. 3 players in the mid area. Could take the bomb with them at this point, because they don't have any eyes on B. So if there was a push with that bomb left up there, who knows what might happen. Somebody should collect. FaceCrack in the jungle position, and we're looking at a wipeout here on the A bomb site. XyPower going to collect the bomb now, but does he go back towards Connect? Because James is heading in that direction from short, and that's why things get weird. Still not picking it up just yet. The smoke is down. They seem to have an idea of what their setup may have been, and they will all move forward and hold a tighter line, being very careful forZe. Protect the VIP, who is XyPower with the bomb. He will plant for his teammates. Almaze is on short now. And everything is known and everything is finished. forZe will take the first map of this best of 3 series. A convincing win over Avangar, 16-9.
Absolutely, definitely deserved. I think Avangar in this showing on Mirage looks quite disjointed, and they've got a lot to think about as they move forwards in this series.
Indeed they do. They'll have a few short minutes before the next map kicks off to find themselves Avangar. Stay tuned, map 2 after the break.